Hello everyone, welcome to the Women Leadership and Psychology Virtual Summit. I'm honored to gather such a talented and inspiring group of women leaders, experts, and change makers from around the world. We will explore the intersection of leadership, psychology, and personal growth, sharing insights, experiences, and strategies to empower and uplift one another. I'm thrilled to introduce our esteemed speakers and look forward to the impactful conversations and connections that will emerge from this summit. Let's celebrate the power of women in leadership and psychology, and may the summit inspire us all to reach new heights. Hello, Anna.
Hello.
Yeah, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Welcome to the Global Virtual Summit 2025, Anna. And before starting your session, I want to introduce you to our audience.
Sure.
Yana is a registered nurse with 30 years of experience in a multitude of specialty areas, including critical care, emergency room surgery, rehabilitation, group up in sunny Azerbaijan around colorful outdoor markets in the 1970s. Doorstep delivery by Milkman, integrative style healthcare, incorporating conventional, holistic, and homeopathic approaches. She shares a unique perspective on evolution of healthcare, food production, and environment over the last few decades. A loving mother of three beautiful girls, and she also shares her and health challenges, how she approached to conquer them. She currently resides with her spouse and her three daughters in Virginia. That was a really great bio, Yana, and the stage is all yours.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I want to thank everyone for having me and for letting me share my passion. I would like to have my first slide. All right, so I'm going to give a presentation on how to navigate toxicity in contemporary world. I think in our contemporary world that is so noisy, it is very easy to get sidetracked. I certainly did. I thought I was healthy. I come from a different country. I grew up eating sturgeon from a Caspian Sea and really enjoyed clean environment where pesticides were unheard of. And when I came to this country at the age of 18, I thought I had it made. I grew up with a very holistic mother. I remember periods in my childhood when I had a cold, when I was breathing eucalyptus oil and doing all the homeopathic things. We had integrative medicine that was practiced that combined conventional and homeopathic approaches. I thought I had it made. But I had some blind spots, and I think most people have, and they just don't realize it. They think if they just eat healthy and exercise, that is it. But unfortunately, I did have some blind spots, and today I feel empowered to share my journey and how I overcame my illness and how I help my family members overcome their health challenges. So my next slide, please. So What are those blind spots? And I think there's a lot of hidden environmental toxins that are lurking in the background, and toxins that we're not aware of. And our world is so global right now. We have foods that are prepackaged in plastic that we consume, even vegetables that lose their energetics because we're not picking up tree ripened fruit. We're not eating vegetables right from the ground. Most people don't own their own gardens. They go to the grocery store. And this is where we pay the price. Next slide, please. Let's see if I can pick that one. So one of the first things that come to mind, and definitely my awakening call came in 2013 when my youngest daughter was affected by a childhood vaccine. And I also started to develop my own strange symptoms, panic attacks, anxiety, arrhythmias. And I was a frequent flyer at Patient First with no answers in sight. So this is what prompted me to look deeper and look for answers and spend sleepless nights researching what could be the possible answers. And I definitely found my answers in holistic field. This is why I want to expand my education. I want to contribute more. I'm currently a student at the Quantum University, getting my doctorate in naturopathic medicine. I'm also part of trauma energetics, getting my coaching certification, as I feel I still have not completed my certifications. I still have a lot of knowledge that I can contribute and I can share with the audience. That's why I'm working on my program currently, developing a unique approach to neurodivergent children and how to help them with extreme behaviors. So what are toxins? Could I have my toxin slide, please? I'm not sure, I haven't seen the switch in the slides. All right, let me just go on. So what are toxins? Toxins are the substances that our bodies cannot utilize to make anything useful. They cannot utilize in any metabolic processes. They simply crowd our cells and impair our function. Where are the toxins contained? They're everywhere. They're in the air we breathe. They're in the food we eat. They are in the soil. And so it is very hard to avoid everything. However, we can minimize it if we have the knowledge. Could I have my glyphosate slide, please? So the first major toxin that comes in mind is glyphosate. Glyphosate was first introduced in 1962 by the Stafford Company as a chelator. It was meant to strip the pipes of hot water boilers of the minerals, certain minerals. Then in 1968, it was introduced as a herbicide. In 2000, it was started to get used in Roundup, a famous weed killer, and also introduced as oral antibiotic. We were told that glyphosate is safe. However, multiple scientific studies showed that no amount of glyphosate is safe. Even as much as a tiny drop in the pool can be deadly for human beings, for ecosystems, and for animals. And it is so. What are the effects of glyphosate? How does it affect? So it affects animals, it affects humans, it affects plants, it affects our ecosystems, it affects the whole world. So so we were told that glyphosate was safe because apparently it is not, it is detrimental to 𝐒𝐞𝐼 metabolic pathway, which apparently humans do not have. Well, we do not have that pathway. However, our gut microbiome has it. And this is essential. And also the animals have it, plants have it. And so it is essential for production of certain amino acids that leads to metabolism of important nutrients and vitamins. And therefore, it is essential for life. When plants do not have a 𝐒𝐞𝐼 system, they die. And then our gut microbiome gets severely affected, and it gets shifted towards the unhealthy pathogenic flora, and how we, this is how we succumb to viruses and bacteria. And we see a lot of bacterial and viral illnesses that in the last 2 decades that have risen. And also, glyphosate is detrimental to humans because it also affects the human DNA. It mimics the effects of amino acid called glycine. And when your body is synthesizing protein, it incorporates glyphosate thinking it's glycine. However, later to determine there's an extra group and it doesn't belong in the reaction. And so it starts over again. So there's a multiple useless reactions going on in our body, and we slowly start breaking down. Glyphosate's effects are slow and gradual, and all of a sudden people are not feeling well and they do not know why. Glyphosate is sprayed on our crops, and it's important to understand that there is, if you buy non-GMO foods, they still contain larger amount of glyphosate than your organic foods, because non-GMO foods are still sprayed right before the harvest yield to dry out the plant, to dry out the seed and to kill the plant, to increase the harvest yield. And it lingers in this harvest and it gets introduced into human system. When you buy certified organic, you can protect yourself from ingesting large amounts of glyphosate. However, it's important to understand that it is impossible to avoid it because glyphosate is very pervasive. Because it's massively gets sprayed on our crops, it's in our air, it's in our soil. And scientific studies had shown that it lingers in the soil for over 2 years. So certified organic is definitely worthwhile buying. It does not help you avoid it, since a lot of farms are close together, and still the wind carries glyphosate and it gets carried through rainwater. And so it still has some amount, but it's significantly reduced. Glyphosate had affected ecosystems. It has affected bee colonies. It had shown that significant decrease and die out of bee colonies in a lot of regions. And when they studied the bee behavior, they found the bees exhibited strange behaviors because glyphosate affected the microbiome and therefore affected their brain function. And the habitual behaviors of collecting, of pollinating, collecting nectar and returning back to the beehive got affected, and bees simply did not recognize where to go to return to the beehives. Also, there has been strange behavior noted in the oceans, since oceans do carry some glyphosate. And there has been found colonies of stranded dolphins that exhibited strange behaviors. And when they studied their brain, they found amyloid plaques in the brain of the dolphins that affected their memory and made them stranded and lose a sense of direction. So as you can see, glyphosate is pervasive. It is everywhere, and it is affecting us. It is affecting our genes. It is affecting our life. It's affecting our world. Glyphosate needs to be banned worldwide. But until it's banned, we need to realize how can we protect our families, and it starts with each and every one of us individually. So I would like to switch to my other slide about regenerative farming. So I want to talk about regenerative farming. I'm sorry, my slides are a little bit out of order, but I really want to talk about regenerative farming because this is how we can avoid glyphosate. We can maximize that avoidance. Regenerative farming is a special kind of farming that uses nature and natural laws to promote the rebuilding of the top soil layer that is destroyed by glyphosate. Because glyphosate affects the soil, it alters the microbiome of the soil, and that soil needs to be rebuilt. So regenerative farmers, like Richard Perkins in the Sweden, he built his regenerative farm in this remote, cold area where he figured out a way how to make it work, and he focuses on a few financial techniques that help him still keep the farm going and supply him with enough financial support, and yet promote this unique type of farming in a cold climate. And he actually has proven that it can work. He works with the natural laws and natural ways that how the nature builds topsoil, and he introduces unique plant families and unique animal families into his farm to diversify the ecology. And plants and animals also contribute to the important growth of the soil. It's amazing. You can actually go on YouTube and look up Richard Perkins. I also have a link about regenerative farming in my resource section of my bio. So regenerative farming, this is one way to avoid glyphosate. So I would like to go next to my to the slide that is talking about dental amalgams. So dental amalgams. When I came here over 30 years ago, I had a lot of dental work done since my country didn't have a good preventative care. Now, right around between 2013 and 2016, when right when I had my third daughter, I started experiencing strange symptoms, anxiety, panic attacks. Any type of small sound was magnified where I couldn't tolerate it. My sleep patterns were affected. I had arrhythmias, and I was a frequent flyer at the patient first, and nobody could tell me what was wrong with me. This is when I started looking into holistic approaches, and I started looking at a lot of global summits, holistic global summits, a lot of holistic series, and I came across two series by Ty and Charlene Bollinger on toxicity, and I saw this section about holistic dentistry. Well, I have never heard about holistic dentists before. So what are holistic dentists? So they're dentists that actually work with the human body, and they use only substances that are body friendly and your body is not going to develop reactions to. They're natural. They have no toxins. They also have a unique approach to root canal, where your tooth is like, root is like a tree. It doesn't only have the main root, but it has tiny little roots on the side, branched up. And when the holistic dentists work with, when they do root canals, they fill in every single space, because conventional dentists, they only fill the main root going down. And that's why there's a lot of dead space left that over time gets filled with debris, bacteria, and since it's very close to the brain, those hidden infections going in the background are linked to a lot of diseases. Alzheimer's, different types of dementia, brain inflammation, autoimmune diseases, and many others. So it's crucial to I see a question here. Could I just answer that at the end of my presentation? I will just answer every question. So the amalgams, so the dental amalgams again. So the holistic dentists use detox protocols if you do have to have them taken out. I've had mine for over 25 years. And so every time you eat something, you drink something hot, there's off-gassing that occurs and your system is getting mercury in the bloodstream. And that is extremely toxic. And over time, it caught up like it caught up with me. It catches up. And so it's imperative to take them out and replace them with natural materials. And why go to holistic dentists? Because they have special detox protocols. Before, you have to take activated charcoal, vitamin C, NAT, and this is just to detox your system before. I read about a couple of days before, right before, you have to take activated charcoal and you have to follow detox protocol afterwards. You have, when the procedure is done, they drape your mouth, they make sure that you have oxygen, they make sure you have a vacuum that drains and filters out all the debris to minimize the reintroduction of mercury into your system. If you need information, there is an amazing site, 𝐷𝐐𝐬𝐧𝐞, and 𝐷𝐐𝐬𝐧𝐞 is Dental Amalgam Solutions, and it is led by Leo Cashman. And they also have news that come out every few months where they talk about all the new discoveries. And the site also has a link for all the holistic dentists that are close to your area. And that is very, very convenient. And that's actually how I found my dentist. So that's all about mercury. And now I want to go to my slide about chemicals, toxic chemicals that and creams. The skincare products. Again, I apologize, I don't have my slides in order. So the skincare products, there is a lot out there. There's a lot out there that is a lot of skin products, a lot of companies that are advertising their skin products as natural. And a lot of those products are on the shelves in our health food stores like Trader Joe's and Whole Foods. However, a lot of those companies are greenwashed and they still use certain substances that are hidden under other names that are toxic to our system. Our skin is the largest organ, detox organ. That's how we detoxify when we sweat, when we breathe through our skin through our receptors. And so it's extremely important to put only clean, non-toxic products on our skin. Through my research, I had found a few companies and I provided the links for that. Hue and Grace, started by a couple that could not conceive for 14 years. So they had created products, their skin products, their supplements that help with detoxification. Their amazing product, Hydrate and Detox. and also some creams and oils that are holistically sourced and made. It's important also to have holistic source to avoid the toxicity. And then another one is Pure Haven, which is similar. Amazing, amazing. And I had provided some information about that. Supplementation is a big thing as well. It's important to consume only clean supplements, because even though we take supplements for a certain reason, when we take supplements that are not completely pure, we also add to toxicity in our body. My next slide is going to be about the topic that does not get talked about a lot. It's the vaccinations. I would like to bring up that slide. So while this topic is sort of taboo and is not talked a lot about, I would love to talk about it because it definitely affected my personal life. When my third daughter, who is now 12 years old, was affected by childhood vaccination, I suspected happened when she was a baby, and she was lethargic when she was a few months old and received her set of shots. But I was reassured everything was fine. Now I'm finding out that being lethargic, non-responsive, and not feeding for 2 days is a sign of brain damage. However, I was not very educated back then, and I continued with my vaccination schedule. And it looked like every time my daughter would get a set of shots, she would develop those strange behaviors where she would line up her toys. Her speech became very strange, and she was hand flapping, which I didn't know anything about autism. And after I read that the hand flapping could be a sign of autism, I just felt like I was going to die. I didn't know what to do. But the tricky part about my journey is that after that, my daughter went back to her normal behaviors. She would briefly fluctuate and then go back. And that way I was reassured that everything is supposedly fine until she was 3 years old, and then got caught up, and she never actually went back to her normal self. Her behaviors were so severe that I could not get out of the house for months, and I did not know whom to ask for help. Nobody had answers for me. And when my pediatrician had told me to give my daughter Ritalin, which I actually did follow because I didn't know what else to do, it made things much worse. It became apparent to me that I have to take matters into my own hands and do my own research to get anywhere. This is what started this series of my sleepless nights. This happened when she was 3, she's 12. So for 7 years, I've been researching a lot, and I have come to some good conclusions. I have reached out for some good help. And now I am at the point where I can develop my own unique protocol, helping children, neurodivergent children with special needs, to improve their quality of life, improve those behaviors that contribute to their lack of focus, lack of academic performance, and lack of function in everyday life. I am actually working on that protocol. I realize that I am still in school, I'm still learning. However, I do want to share my knowledge. I do not want to wait, as life is so short and we don't know what happened tomorrow. So I feel that urgency to share with others. So I provided a very good resource in my slide. It is a book that recently came out in 2025 by Dr. Paul Thomas, who is a doctor who I believe had a practice in Oregon. It was a sprawling practice. And he has a vast experience, had observed many children, and can relate to the health status of the children who were vaccinated, partially vaccinated, and not vaccinated at all, and who followed his vaccine-friendly plan versus not following any vaccinations at all. So if you are a parent who is struggling to make that choice, or if you're a parent who already has affected child and you don't know where to turn, this book is a good resource for anybody. And it pretty much rules things out, and it makes your decision pretty easy. If you are not ready to make a decision, it helps with it because it gives you all the information you need. And it helps you weigh the risks versus benefits. It helps you to realize truth about each vaccination and what disease it prevents and what are possible complications and what is it to look out for in your family history and in your child that could give you those hints and would warn you about caution and how to proceed with that. So I strongly recommend this book. You can get it on Amazon, and it can actually save your life. So, and lastly, I don't know how much time I have, but lastly, I would like to talk about our children. And so what I have observed, being a mother for many years, what I have observed in our today's lifestyle is that kids are extremely stressed. Most families live on the tight schedules with alarms, urgency. Kids are encouraged to compete, perform, and just keep going. They are not taught emotional regulation, how to deal with strong emotions, how to cope with stress. And I've lived in my neighborhood since 2003. And since then, there were multiple suicides that my kids experienced of their friends while they were in high school, and even a few on our own street, people that we knew. And what I can say is that what's the most important is to teach your kids the value of emotional regulation and the ability to relax, the ability to deal with strong emotions, the ability to say, I'm in pain, emotional pain, I'm hurting, but it's not something abnormal. It's okay. What is it that is causing it, and how is it I can release it? Who can I reach to? Who can I talk to? A lot of parents, they're caught in this hamster wheel of 3 jobs, and a lot of kids come home, they're latchkey kids. They are playing games, they have minimal human interaction, they eat junk food because their parents don't have time to cook, and that has repercussions. The rate of suicide is increasing, and our kids are screaming for help. So what is the answer for that? We need to look, when you're on an airplane, it is important to put an oxygen mask on yourself first before you can help others. How we as parents can look at ourselves and realize, are we emotionally regulated? Are we in a position to give our kids resilience skills? And what is it that we need to do to emotionally regulate? We as human beings, our nervous system is keyed to co-regulation. When we are regulated, our kids are co-regulating with us. They learn how to calm their nervous system down. They learn the skills, the coping skills when things get tough. So we need to look at our own internal landscape and do our own internal change before we can help our kids. I always recommend to review your lifestyle and see Where are you rushing? Where are you pushing? Where are you? What areas of your life are you stressed out and are out of control? How can you slow down, and what can you do to tune in into your unique emotional family needs? Maybe have family meals together a few times a week where you can connect, cook together, talk, co-regulate. And I always say, take vacations. Vacations make memories. They signal to your family, your kids, that it's okay to relax. As most Americans, they live in a constant stress. Our stress shows up in a different ways in our body. This nervous energy has to go somewhere. And if we don't know how to express ourselves, if we hold it all in, it manifests in tumors, diseases, nervous breakdowns, and many more things. And what are the answers? Some parents take their kids to psychiatrists and give them psychotropic drugs that only numb everything and make things worse. So I encourage all the families to look into the personal, internal landscape and see what areas can be worked on to improve that. And so I don't know if I went over time and how much time I have, but if there's any questions, I can answer them.
Yeah, we are running out of time, and this is a very informative session. And thank you so much for your valuable time. And we have a question from our audience.
Yes.
Like, what changes in healthcare concern you the most today?
I'm sorry, I cannot
What?
hear.
Yeah, what changes in healthcare concern you the most today?
What changes in healthcare concern you the
You
most today? So, what concerns me the most today is that is a focus on disease and not the root cause. So, because we have and people are heavily over medicated because medications have side effects, and it's like a tree. You take one medication, you have a side effect, then you take another medication for the side effect. So it's sort of like, but each medication is designed to act only with a certain receptor in your body. So what it is, it bypasses all the body's um, safe checks. So what happens is that people get sicker and sicker, and when we add a lot of medications, we add to the toxicity in our body, and we have so many layers of it that people start breaking down and getting sicker and sicker. So that's my concern: is focus on disease versus prevention and the root cause. Oh, I lost the sound.
We got your answer, Yana. Thank you for answering, and thank you so much for your valuable time here. And
Thank you so much. And yes, and I provided in the beginning in the link in the chat, I provided my Instagram information, my email, and my new business that I'm working on developing. It's called Enlightened Health. And so I'm looking forward to keeping in touch with people and creating a lot of changes in the world.
yeah, sure. Our audience will connect you there for sure. Thank you so much. And be on the backstage and join the next session, please.
Thank you so much.